Everything depends on the client and the context of the relationship and so on. So if this is a new client and I don't know, is the client safe, then I'm going to base my decision on that. I might need to spend an extra 10 minutes, right? Contingency management is not always going to take a priority. I have to weigh that, the importance of that with the risk management piece, right? In my mind, this was a client that I know well. So let me actually tell you what I would do. This is a client, let's say, that I know well. We have a good therapeutic alliance. And I know that this client self-harms and they have no intention of suiciding. Let's say I know that right off the bat, okay? From my 1 or 2 year work with this person. In this situation, I'm going to say, oh gosh, you know what? I wish you had told me this earlier, because this is something that we need to talk about in session. So I'm going to put that at the top of our agenda for when her mother calls and keeps her on the phone for 2 hours. And then she comes into session and she's saying, why can't I set healthy limits with my mom? I don't want to spend 2 hours on the phone with her. And I'll say, well, you grew up learning that your needs don't matter. Your parents' needs matter more than your needs, okay? So that's an example of how that invalidation happens in the abusive environment, right? The child learns that their needs don't matter. I had another client that I worked with, and I still remember her telling me during our assessment phase that her father, he was physically abusive, and she said, I wouldn't even know that he was home, and I'd be walking down the hallway and all of a sudden he would walk out from the doorway and just smack me across the head for like no reason that I knew of. And so again, there's messaging happening. Let's see if we can address some of the other things happening in your life, and I can teach you some skills so that maybe by June 16th, another option will have presented itself. So that was me holding 2 or more truths. So this is her belief, this is my belief. There's no synthesizing, but I can just agree to disagree and put this aside so that we can do something that's more productive. And that's what we did. And she did not kill herself. She went to a residential treatment program shortly after that for 3 months, where she did really well. Sometimes being dialectical is remembering that opposites are interconnected and are defined by each other. The idea, for instance, that we can't truly know joy unless we've known suffering. And then synthesizing opposites is often what helps lead us to change. I'm going to give you an example here too. Actually, I'll hold on to that because I think it's on the next slide. Being dialectical, okay. So my cousin validated herself at a level 4. She said, I know it makes sense. She said, I know I'm a more sensitive person. Those were her words. I know I'm a more sensitive person, so it makes sense that I was upset with my doctor. Okay, so she validated herself at a level 4. She said, for me, this makes sense. I validated her in part at a 5. I said, are you kidding me? Anybody would feel ticked off at their doctor if that's what their doctor said. So that would be a level 5, normalizing, right? Now, here's the cautionary tale. What do you think would have happened if I validated her, my cousin, at a level 4? If I said, well, you are a more highly sensitive person, so it makes sense that you'd be upset with your doctor. Probably doesn't feel so validating anymore, right? Even though technically I'm